The village square buzzed with excitement as women gathered, their laughter carrying the sharp stink of mockery. Somewhere in the crowd, Nkem stood alone, her head low and her heart heavy. A cow in a cooking competition, Beatrice sneered loudly, her words slicing through the air like a blade. Why not let her cook for the cattle instead? The other girls erupted in laughter, their cruel voices echoing in Nkem's ear. But what they didn't know, what none of them could have guessed, was that by the end of the tale, Nkem would become the name on every villager's lips, not as an object of ridicule, but as the one who proved all of them wrong. In the village of Okata, being slim was seen as the beauty standard. But then there was Nkem who didn't fit into the standard the villagers considered beautiful. Nkem was a beautiful girl who was really big, unlike the other girls in the village, who were slim and considered beautiful. Her fellow girls would gossip behind her back. Who would want to marry a fat, lazy girl like her? They would say she would never find a man, she will die alone. Soon, Nkem stopped eating. She did everything to lose weight, but then nothing happened. Nkem couldn't control her love for food, and she ate and ate. And with each passing years, she grew fatter. The village believed that only the slim girls were worthy of love and attention. One day, something unexpected happened. Maazi, the chief of the village, had a son named Maxwell. He was handsome, tall, and smart. One day, Maxwell came home after so many years away and told the people of the village that he was looking for a wife. He would choose the girl who could cook the best meal in the grand cooking competition. The news soon spread like wildfire. All the young girls in the village were expected to show off their cooking skill. And even Nkem, though she was discouraged by mockery, she decided she would enter the competition. She loved to cook and made really delicious meal. And this was her chance, she thought. Though she was convinced she was not going to win, but at least she would show the world her talent. But as Nkem walked to the village square that day, she overheard the cruel laughter of the other girls. Who will marry a cow? Beatrice, the skinniest girl in the village, said, laughing loudly. Look at her. She's bigger than a whole head of cattle. She should just go back home and sleep. She laughed in low tune. Nkem's heart went sad, her eyes filled with tears, but her body shook it off and she wiped away her tears. I will enter the competition, she promised herself. I will cook my best no matter what they say. Even if I won't win, I will show my skills to the world. At home, her mother, who was never kind to her, told Nkem, Nkem, you are wasting your time. You are a cause to this family. Your younger siblings are married and living well with their husbands. But look at you, who would marry you? All you know how to do was to eat. Don't go to the competition to waste your time. Nkem immediately bursted into a loud cry. But she didn't give up. She didn't listen to her mother either. On the day of the competition, which began on a very beautiful morning, all the girls were excited, dressed in their best clothes and eager to impress Maxwell. They were told to cook in the kitchen at the back of Maxwell's mansion. They were given all the ingredients they needed to make something. Nkem, though nervous, smiled as she thought of showing off her cooking skills, but then something unexpected happened. Beatrice, the girl who had mocked Nkem the loudest, who had once been her friend, they had been best friends since childhood until they grew up. She began to see herself better off than Nkem and immediately distanced herself, making other girls that looked like her friends. Nkem cooked diligently, pouring her heart in her cooking, crafting a rich, flavorful dish that showcased her heritage and creativity. Beatrice secretly swapped Nkem's food with her own, knowing Nkem was a very good cook. Beatrice knew Nkem's cooking was the best she has ever had. She wanted to win the competition no matter what. Then the ceremony started. Maxwell started testing the food one by one, and immediately he tested the one Beatrice had. He was impressed. "This is incredible," Maxwell exclaimed. "Beatrice, you are the one for me," he said. "You have won my heart." He held Beatrice's hand. "You will be my wife." Beatrice smiled shyly. Yes, I will marry you, Maxwell." The crowd cheered them. Beatrice smiled, a wicked glint in her eyes. She knew what she had had done. The other girls laughed and they all whispered, "Who would marry Nkem? She's just too fat for any man to love." Though they were all blinded to what Beatrice had done. Only Beatrice knew what she had done, and Nkem knew that her food was not the same, but then she didn't know what happened, so she kept quiet. The villagers thought it was the end of Nkem's story. Life became normal as usual, but Nkem was determined not to let anyone see her cry. She held her head high, even though her heart ached. She had given up on love and every chance to be happy. Maxwell and Beatrice soon relocated to the city after their grand wedding. 1 year after Beatrice and Maxwell got married, Maxwell soon grew suspicious. He didn't forget the taste of the food he had eaten that day. Beatrice's food tasted different and something felt wrong. After a while, he couldn't shake the feelings that he might have been deceived, but he still gave his wife Beatrice another chance to clear herself. But soon, his suspicion cleared. That wasn't the food he had eaten on the day of the occasion. Maxwell returned to the village with Beatrice and apologized to the girls and pleaded with them to cook again. This time, they cooked under a strict supervision and him watching carefully. And then after the meals were made, he tested them one by one again. And when he got to Nkem's meal, he tasted it. He was shocked. "This is it. This is the food I ate before," he said aloud. "Beatrice," he said angrily, "you lied to me. You didn't cook this food. Nkem did. You fooled us all." The villagers gasped. They couldn't believe it. They had thought Nkem was nothing but a lazy, good-for-nothing girl who only knew how to eat. But now they saw the truth. It wasn't Nkem who had failed, but Beatrice who had cheated. Everyone looked at Beatrice with disgust eyes. Maxwell turned to Nkem, his face full of apology. "I was wrong. Forgive me, please. Will you marry me?" But Nkem held her head high, smiled and shook her head. "No, Maxwell, I am not interested in you," she said calmly. Everyone was shocked. "I have someone else who loved me for who I am." After saying that, she pulled out a ring from her finger. The whole crowd went immediately silent as Nkem announced, "I am already engaged to someone. His name is Odogwoke Alfred. He is kind, loving, and rich beyond measures." The crowd were shocked. They had no idea Nkem has been dating someone so important. Nkem proceeded, "I met Alfred one day I was going to the stream alone. I was crying bitterly after the girls had mocked me that I had gotten out of proportion and no man would ever look my way. They said I was good for nothing. The only thing I knew how to do was eat." Alfred had come home from outside the country to visit his family. He saw me and he walked up to me and asked me what happened after I told him everything. He consoled me and soon we got really close. Alfred got to know me for me and fell hopelessly in love with me. And he asked me to marry him after some months of dating. I accepted because I love him so much too in return. The crowd started gossiping. They said Nkem was lying. One woman came out. "Nkem, stop lying. Lying would do you no good. No man in this community or outside this community would ever see a fat girl like you and then go ahead to marry her." But then, as soon as the woman was almost done with her speech, Alfred drove into Maxwell's compound. Getting down from the car, he said to Nkem, "My love, are you guys done so we can go and get ready for our marriage?" The crowd grew silent with surprises on their face. She held Alfred's hand. "Yes, my love, I am done. I was just about stepping out." Together, they walked out of Maxwell's compound. Maxwell, with a face of shame, left the village alone, realizing his mistake. Meanwhile, Beatrice sat there with a pool of tears on her face, regretting every action she took that day. Nkem's life changed forever. She married Alfred in a grand way. It was one the village had never seen. Alfred was wealthy and respected, and their marriage was grand, and everyone fed to their satisfaction. On the day of their marriage, he gifted Nkem with a very big SUV. The whole crowd were silent. They lived in luxury. Nkem's life became everything she had dreamt of. And soon the people of the village realized they had been very wrong to judge her. After some weeks, her mother came pleading, but Nkem forgave her, saying they can be related but from a distance, and would send her money from time to time to take care of herself, but she should never come close to her house. Beatrice came begging Nkem too. Nkem forgave her, saying, "You are still my friend, but from a distance. From today onwards, please don't come to my house." "Well, I and my husband are leaving the country next week, so you won't even come. But I wish you well, and I wish you all the good things life can offer you." The village learned to value girls like Nkem, who were not just about their looks, but about their heart and their abilities. They never gave Nkem the chance to show who she really was. The story of Nkem, the girl who was too fat to love, became a lesson in the village about true beauty. Nkem and Alfred soon traveled out of the country, and together they had 3 children, Hannah, Jaden, and Jasper. They lived happily ever after. On the comment section, comment where you are watching from. Thank you.